Hey everyone, how's it going? IntoWeapons back again with you. Thought it'd be a good time to take a look at my AK variant collection for 2015. I know it's a little overdue, but better late than never. As many of you know, this will be my third year putting together an overview video like this. If you see my prior year's videos, you'll notice that the collection has changed quite a bit each time. Although my total number of AKs have gone down this year, some of the newest additions are more rare examples of the variant, which is kind of cool. As always, I'll mention right away that I'm not an expert on firearms or this platform. I'm merely an enthusiast, amateur collector who enjoys owning, shooting, and networking with others who have the same interests. One last thing I have to mention is that these are not all AK-47 rifles. I merely use the term AK-47 as it's more widely accepted term for this platform. In reality, this collection actually doesn't contain a single true AK-47, which is very rare to have in the United States. Most of these rifles are designated AKM or Modernized AK. Without getting too far in depth with an explanation, the true AK-47 was the original design and had slight improvements to the pistol grip, stock, and front sights when it became designated as the AKM years later. The rest of the rifles have designations like AKMS for folding stocks, AKMS-U for shortened barrels, AK-101 for the 223, 5.56 Nato rifles, and AK-103 for the modernized AKs with additional accessory attachments and polymer furniture. Another popular variant on the US market, which is one I don't have, is the AK-74M, which is the 5.45x39 variant. Although purists hate the generic term AK-47, most retailers and collectors use the term when discussing the platform just because of its ease and widely accepted use. If you're interested in AKs and other firearms, feel free to check out my channel and other videos. I always appreciate any likes, shares, or new subscribers. This video will be formatted very similar to last year's video. During the video, each firearm will have a couple annotations that pop up, which will link you to an overview video or firing range video of that particular gun. If you're interested in just one particular firearm, look in the video description below for the specific gun and the annotation link next to it. On the time link, and it will jump you to that part of the video for that gun. So, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. To start us out, we'll begin with a shotgun, which uses the AK action, the Saiga 12. This shotgun comes from Russia and is made at the Kalashnikov concern plant, formerly known as Izhmash. The specific model number from the stock shotgun is IZ109, and it's imported by Century Arms International. It's chambered in 12 gauge and currently has a retail price of about $1,000 unconverted. It has a 19-inch chrome line, smooth bore barrel, but it's available in a few different lengths. The barrel is threaded with a thread pitch of M22 by .75, which is a custom thread tap by the manufacturer. The muzzle protector is removable, and aftermarket brakes are readily available. Out of the box, it comes with one 5-round magazine, giving a 5+1 round capacity. Ammo capacity is expandable with drum magazines and longer box magazines, such as mine, which is an 8-round capacity. The overall length is 45 inches, and it weighs a total of 8 pounds unconverted. On the converted Saiga, the handguards, pistol grip, and stock are all black polymer. The receiver is stamped and is 1 millimeter thick with one bulge to the right hand side and left hand side, but it's not to be confused with a thicker walled RPK type receiver, which has a bulge on both sides and it's a little bit more predominant. You can see this one has kind of a wider, longer type of bulge on the front trunnion there, which, you know, it's kind of similar to an RPK style, but not. So very, very different in respects to that. The receiver does include a side rail scope mount for mounting optics of your choice. You can see there, which is real nice to have, especially on a Saiga 12. You can put a red dot on there. The front sights are a post and dot set up. You can see, oops, on the front gas block there, and it's working in conjunction with the dovetail rear sights, which hopefully I can get a good spot on there for you. There you go. This is more of a safe queen for me, as I don't have too many places to shoot it, unfortunately. But due to the Obama ban on Russian-made firearms being imported from certain manufacturers, the value of this shotgun has gone up significantly since I purchased it a few years back. They're becoming harder to find and may end up being a valuable investment someday. Overall, I really enjoy shooting it, typically putting light loads through it to save on my shoulder. I did have the opportunity to shoot my Saiga 12 with a VEPR 12 one night to compare, and was surprised at how well the Saiga 12 performed against what I expected to be a superior shotgun with the VEPR. Again, very pleasantly surprised. It is one of my favorite firearms in the collection, mainly because of its reputation and coolness factor. I always wanted to have a Saiga 12 in the collection just because it's one of those, types of guns that everyone knows, understands, and really kind of wishes for at some point in their life. So always really happy to have this one in my collection. Next on our list, even though it may seem out of order, is a great rifle for training on the AK platform, as well as a great plinker for any range day. This rifle is manufactured in Germany by German Sports Gun, also known as GSG. The model number is AK-22, and it's imported by American Tactical Imports. It's chambered in .22 long rifle, and has an MSRP of about $400 currently. The barrel length is 16.5 inches, with a 6 groove and 1/16-inch twist rate. It does technically have a threaded barrel for a muzzle brake, with a muzzle nut, which is essentially a removable sleeve with threads. I've yet to find or see a brake designed for this rifle though, but would love to buy one if something's out there if you guys know some. The magazine is removable with a 24 plus 1 run capacity. There are also low capacity magazines available for this rifle. ProMay makes a 30 round magazine which runs about $16 and is available from many different retailers. One thing I'll note on this, because AK-47 variants generally don't have this feature, is the last round bolt hold open for the action on the magazines. It works in conjunction with the magazines. So that's kind of a nice feature. Once you hit that last round, it'll lock itself open. You can feed it a fresh magazine, and it'll feed that first round in there off that fresh magazine. So that's kind of a cool feature. The overall length is 35 inches. And has a total weight of about 7 pounds, so it's very manageable for new shooters, amateur shooters, or, you know, my wife enjoys shooting. My daughter will probably end up being trained on this rifle, so that weight definitely helps that out. This particular variant sports authentic green forest birch from Italy for the all-wood handguards, pistol grip, and stock, which is some of the best wood furniture I've seen on any retail AK. Out of the box, the wood was in an unfinished state, so I did have to stain and seal all of it, which was kind of a fun little project anyway. But it has a nice gloss finish now, which is kind of nice. So again, definitely one of the best stock sets I've seen kind of on a retail AK out of the box, and for the price, that's kind of surprising. Fortunately, it does have a side rail scope mount for mounting any optics that you might like. The receiver is a bit unusual. It's made out of aluminum alloy, I guess, and it has a clamshell design which is held together with screws, so it's kind of like a two-piece design, almost kind of like the old toys in the 50s and 60s were made, and you're actually kind of probably very similar to a lot of the materials they used back then as well. So kind of an interesting design, but it seems like it's very durable. I haven't had any issues or read about any issues of it cracking, breaking, or fresh stress fractures, I should say. So the design seems to work. I don't have any complaints against that at all. Fortunately, it does have like I said, a side rail scope mount, so that's kind of a neat thing. It's nice to see they included the cleaning rod, as it retains some of the standard AK aesthetics, but it does lack any form of bayonet lug, unfortunately, so that's kind of a bummer. I don't see too many people probably putting a bayonet on a .22 training rifle anyway, so that's probably okay. The front sights look similar to a standard AK, as you can see there, using a post covered by a half globe, but it's only adjustable for elevation and can't be drifted horizontally for windage. The rear sights are fairly standard. You can see there the leaf sight. It's an adjustable leaf sight system ranging out to 1,400 meters, so you can get some distance out of these standard iron sights there. It's kind of nice. Overall, this GSG AK-22 is a perfect training rifle as well as a fun range gun for plinking, like I said. It's a bit more fun when .22 ammo was more readily available, but I hope someday it'll be plentiful again. Either way, it'll be a great rifle for my daughter to start out when it's time, and I'm really happy to have a good-looking AK-22 variant in the collection. I don't believe that the Rock Island Armory .22 AK, which is, in my opinion, ugly, or anything, is something that I want to buy or have in the collection, or even the new Mossberg Blaze .22 AK can really compare to this rifle, especially for the price. And I've seen these down as low as I think I even paid like $325 for this rifle. So they do go on sale. I think the numbers are kind of drying up, and if I remember correctly, I thought GSG said they were going to discontinue this model. I could be wrong on that, so don't hold that to me, but if this is something that interests you, you might want to look into that a little bit, as the numbers might be drying up on these. And like I said, this is a great looking .22 AK variant. You really can't find anything on the market for a .22 AK that's readily available that looks as good as this compared to the what it mimics. So solid rifle, really like it. Glad to have it as part of the collection. This rifle is probably one of my favorites in the collection, and the model was chosen and the customizations were done specifically with fun in mind. It looks pretty different from the out-of-box configuration, but I'll provide you the standard specifications on the rifle, and then we'll go over the exact upgrades I made to this particular firearm. This rifle comes from Russia. It's produced in the Molot factory. The model number is VEPR-54R-16, and it's imported by TGI Knox of Tennessee. The rifle is chambered in 7.62 by 54R and has an MSRP of about $870. It features a heavy chrome line, hammer forged 16-inch barrel with a twist rate of 1 and 9.5 inches. The barrel is threaded with a muzzle protector originally pin and welded in place that can be removed, and I have a video out there demonstrating how I did it this particular rifle. The thread pitch is 14 by 1 left hand, and it accepts standard AK brakes, but be wary of pressure differences. This is a Tapco slotted brake designed for 7.62 by 39, and the overpressure from a 7.62 by 54R, I have been told by some viewers, can damage or destroy this muzzle brake, potentially damaging your threads as well. So something you definitely want to keep in mind. Not only is the barrel chrome lined, but so is the barrel bore, chamber, gas block, and gas piston, so that's really nice. It comes with a standard Molot 5-round magazine out of the box, but SGM does currently produce a 10-round magazine, which this one is, and has been working on a 20-round magazine for some time. The overall length is 36.8 inches, and it weighs about 8.5 pounds originally. The stock is a handmade thumbhole walnut wood stock in a sporter configuration with a walnut wood handguard that's also handmade. I actually sold that set on the used market when I did all the replacements on this thing. Ran about $70 I think it sold it for, and they are actually readily available as just individual stock sets. I think you can purchase from a couple different retailers for either between $50 or $70. I'm not 100% sure on that, but gorgeous stock set for sure. The rifle is built around a beefy 1.5mm thick receiver with RPK style front trunnion, and you can notice that with the bulge that you'll see here, and that's what they're talking about when they say RPK style bulge on the front trunnion. There is that one right there, and then on the other side as well you have one right there, so pretty easily identifiable. Typically means you have a receiver that's stamped, but that it's 1.5 millimeters thick. It's a little bit thicker and beefier, and that's good when you have a a nice large cartridge like the 7.62 by 54R. It does have a side rail scope mount for mounting optics of choice, which, as you can see, I have a scope mount rail on, or a scope mount on the rail itself already. The front sights are a standard AKM post and half globe. Get you a picture of that there. And that's adjustable for windage and elevation. While the rear sight, which is hidden underneath the scope here, so hopefully you guys can see a good picture of that there, is an RPK style leaf sight adjustable up to 1,000 meters, which has a windage adjustment, which is really nice. And that's kind of why it's RPK style, because that's kind of what it's known for, is having those multiple adjustments on the rear iron sight. So that's kind of the basic specifications out of the box. We'll go ahead and get into some of the upgrades that I've done on this particular rifle. The first one being the Bone Steel Arms left-hand side folder with Magpul CTR stock, MOE butt pad, and riser, which you can adjust here, sliding back and forth, which is really nice. Make a different adjustable lengths, pull lengths, or lengths of pull, I should say. The folder itself, again, is left-hand side folding, but it doesn't have any type of locking mechanism here. It does lock into the fully retained position, but there isn't any kind of lock button that you can use to depress it. In order to manipulate this folding stock, essentially what you do is you lift up on the gun and push down on the stock here, and it should hopefully give you enough pressure to release that locking mechanism there and fold it over to the designated spot. In this case, again, left hand. It doesn't lock into this position. You can see it's more spring-loaded, but when I hold it upside down, it does retain it, so it's not loose by any means. And then again, it does lock into that fully open position. And it did have a optional for $5 extra. He'll send you this little sling mount. It does have, I think, the hole pre-designated in there, but that does quick release, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, there she goes. So that's optional, or an option that you can add on there as well. But very nice adapter in the back here. Doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Doesn't look ugly. Not too big, bulky. A lot of the cheaper ones that you can find on the market are kind of big and ugly, in my opinion. So the pistol grip here is an ATI Scorpion recoil pistol grip, which is kind of a rubbery feel. It's got some grooves on there, which I really like. I've used this on my WASR rifle as well. Really helps you kind of manage this, especially heavier rifle on the range. So I really enjoy having that on there. These are really nice grips. The original safety was replaced with a Krebs Custom Mark 5 safety, or Mark 4 safety, Or maybe Mark 6, I'm not really sure on that one, but includes the finger tab for quick manipulation, which I'll show you, and a cutout for bolt hold open function, which I'll show you as well. So to manipulate this with the finger, you can see it has a little tab there. I can push it down, push it up, and I don't have to take my hand off the fire control grip or the pistol grip here, which is really nice. The bolt hold open feature, especially here in Wisconsin at some of our local ranges, they like this when you're stepping away from the bench or people are going down range, is to be able to show that demonstrate your action is open and clear. So you can be able to pull this back, lift up your safety selector, so it gets stuck on the hammer there, and lock that bolt hold open, which is really, really nice. So the safety range instructors really like to see that, that you're being a little bit safer with that kind of function. So the original wood handguard was replaced with a Carolina shooter supply, also known as CSS, slotted aluminum handguard, which I really like. Does heat up a little bit, you know, with rapid fire succession, but overall it does vent it pretty well and stay pretty cool. It went with the Midwest Industries AK railed scope mount, which is very popular on the market. They make a very nice product, quick release here to get it off and on, as well as a quick adjustment tool for different size rails on your AK, so that's kind of a nice feature. Very easy to use and manipulate. Sitting on top of that is a UTG 3-12 by 44 rifle scope, which has dual color reticle red and green with adjustable brightness settings. It is a cheaper optic, but it does the job for having fun at the range out to 100 yards. It even did a pretty decent job for me at 500 yards, hitting a 12-inch plate pretty repetitively with 148 grain non-corrosive surplus ammo. So not a bad scope at all, actually, for what I got here, and it's a pretty significant recoil that this thing is withstanding. So I'm actually pretty impressed with the $150 scope that it is. The Harris Engineering S-BRM bipod here, which we have on the bottom of this rail, is held to the CSS handguard by a replaced retaining screw from the original wood handguard using an Uncle Mike's QD machine screw sling swivel. It does come loose with without some Loctite holding it in place, but with the bipod attached, it is a significant force. It's you know, handling under recoil, so that's, you know, probably understandable. It's really not designed for, I imagine, this type of application, but really nice bipod. I generally don't have any issues with it, and it seems to work well in conjunction with this handguard. So the trigger was replaced with a Dinzag Arms fire control group, which is a highly customized and polished Tapco G2 trigger modified for the VEPR. Dinzag Arms does an amazing job with his triggers. When I got it, I mean, you could see your picture in it. It was such a great polishing job, and very crisp and clean. There isn't much take up, and the break you can barely feel. So an awesome trigger, especially for some of those longer distance shots. You can maintain that accuracy a little bit better. The Magpul angled foregrip is held in place under the handguard by a Magpul L5 MOE rail section, which is pretty readily available on Amazon. At the end of the muzzle, we're using, again, a cheap slotted brake by Tapco, which is pretty standard for Amazon as well. I chose that again because of the muzzle flash that it produced. Really, that was really the only reason for it. And I guess that's about it for upgrades on this particular rifle. Overall, the rifle is a blast to shoot. I haven't found one person who didn't enjoy the experience of it. It's got a very large muzzle flash. It's extremely loud. Yet the recoil and the kick are very manageable and much easier to handle than most people would expect. So it was a labor of love for sure, as the financial investment of something like this would be very difficult to ever get back if I was ever trying to sell it. And you know, a lot of people, my previous videos on this particular gun, you know, give me a lot of crap about how much I spend and how tactical it looked, and you know, there's a lot of AK purists out there who really just despise this type of thing, especially when I say I design it just for having some fun, and it's not utilitarian, which, you know, if you're a collector enthusiast and I'm not a soldier of any sort, why would I be a, you know, utilitarian type of rifle? So this next rifle comes from the Izhmash factory in Russia and has a model number IZ-132. The importer is RWC Group, also known as Russian Weapons Company. This sporter rifle is chambered in 7.62 by 39, and if it was still available in the retail market, has an MSRP of about $500. It's no longer available due to the Obama import ban on specific Russian firearm manufacturers, unfortunately. The barrel is chrome lined, hammer forged with a length of 16.3 inches. It has a twist rate of 1 and 9.5 inches. The barrel is not threaded due to its sporter configuration. It has a capacity of 10+1 before conversion with releasable box magazines. The overall length is 35 inches with a total weight of 8 pounds. The stock and handguard material is a real nice black polymer, nice and lightweight. The receiver is stamped with a 1mm thickness and includes those support dimples here. It does have a side rail scope mount for mounting optics of your choice, which is really nice if you want to use it for like a hunting rifle or something. Put anything you want on there, a hunting scope or something. But it doesn't have a bayonet lug, obviously. Sporter configuration, again, you can't see anything on there, can't attach anything. The front sights are standard AKM post and half globe. They're adjustable for windage and elevation. The rear sights are standard leaf design, as you can see there, with adjustments for 10, 218, and 328 meters, which is kind of unusual for an AK pattern rifle. Usually you have a lot more adjustments than that, and there's a lot more a range out to them. I plan on doing a complete conversion along with getting a nice Russian wood stock, grip, and handguards at some point. It definitely is a good candidate for that. Overall, it's a solid hunting rifle in its current configuration. If it was readily available rifle for if it was a readily available rifle, it'd be a fun conversion project. But due to the ban, they really have dried up along the last few years here, or I should say the last year, and will most likely be a decent collector piece in the next 10 to 15 if something doesn't change with that current restriction. I would love to start working on this rifle conversion, but I really don't have the money or the time to throw it at right now. But someday on the channel, I'm sure we'll have plenty of good videos coming out in a series of converting this guy over to a full AKM. So stay tuned on that if you're interested in something like that. This very cool rifle comes from Serbia, formerly an area known as Yugoslavia. It's produced by the manufacturer Zastava and has a stateside model number of O-PAP M70. With most Zastava products, it's imported by Century Arms International. It's chambered in 7.62x39. The MSRP is about $600. I think the price has been steadily going up on these, though, based on supply and demand. The 16-inch barrel is non-chrome lined, but it's hammer forged with a 1 and 10-inch twist. It does have a threaded barrel with a included slant brake on there out of box, which is really nice. The thread pitch on there is 14x1 left hand. The standard capacity is 30 plus 1, and of course is expandable with drum or box magazines like all AKMs. The overall length is 36 inches with a total weight of 9.1 pounds, so a little bit heavier. The stock is a traditional surplus made of birch wood. As you can see here, real nice, real good looking stock. It actually includes the country's laser crest etched into it, either by Zastava or Century. I'm not sure who did that, but most likely the former. The pistol grip is a polymer with traditional M70 finger grooves, as you can see. It's nice to have that finger groove on there, makes it a little easier to hold on to. The handguard material, like the stock, is birchwood as well. Good looking stock set, that's for sure. Some better than others when you order these. The extra weight on this rifle comes from the stamped 1.5mm thick receiver, so a little bit beefier, with an RPK style front bulge front trunnion. You can again distinguish that by looking at this bulge right here, and it's again apparent on this side as well. And typically that means you have a thicker walled receiver, and you have some extra reinforcements up here in the front trunnion there. The receiver does include the usual receiver dimples for additional receiver integrity and mag wobble reduction, which is really nice to have. It does sport a side rail scope mount, allowing the ability to mount optics of your choice. Out of the box, it does include a cleaning rod, which the rifle does retain. I always like to see that because it gives a little bit more general aesthetics back to the AK. The front sights are standard AKM adjustable for windage and elevation. It also includes some flip-up tritium night sights that I restored to its original glory after purchase. We'll touch bases on those shortly. And the rear sights are a standard AKM adjustable. There you go. And that's adjustable for, I think, up to 1,000 meters, if I'm not mistaken there. Good looking set of sights there. As you can see, they kind of polish the top, which is a little bit unusual. It's not finished up there, but it gives it kind of an interesting look to it, and you can see the numbers on it a little bit better in that circumstance in some light situations, which is kind of nice. Some of my upgrades include staining and sealing. The gorgeous stock on these, I really love the stock that comes on this. Again, probably one of the better stocks that I've seen on a retail AK market, and that if you can get one with that crest on it, really adds a lot of character to it, especially with these numbers etched into them as well. So I stained and sealed those guys. The other thing I did to this gun was restore the night sights with fresh tritium vials and the necessary missing parts, which I found online. And that consisted of a parts kit for the front and a parts kit for the rear sights. And I'll show you how those operate here. We'll look at the front sights first. And hopefully I can get this in angle here. But you'll notice here it's in the closed position. And most O-PAPs will come with the designated cutouts on there, because it is a parts kit as it comes into the country. So you'll have the holes drilled in there and then the cutout there for where the night sight actually sits, but it doesn't come with the night sight kit. So you do have to find those parts individually, which is just some springs and pins and the night sight itself. But that's its closed position. You flip it up, and that's its open position. Night sight on, and it is a tritium vial in there that I had to replace by finding online, and then just sealing in there with some black silicone. And as you can see, it's held in there real nice, and you can flip them up and down and use those within the nighttime a little bit easier. And the rear sights as well, hopefully we can get that. You can see there's two tritium vials in here, one on each side, and this is the night sights up and then the night sights down. Again, just really consisting of this one was a little bit easier, one pin, one leaf spring, and then the sight itself. So they're not very difficult to install. The hardest part is just getting the tritium vials and all the parts together. Once you do that, putting it all together is not very difficult at all. Overall, it's a solid rifle that has a good collector value if importation stops, which I've heard it will. Not as many customizations are available due to the thicker wall receivers and Yugo design. I wish it had the gas block shut-off valve for the grenade launcher function right here on the front gas block, like the M7DB1, just to add more authenticity to the rifle. Common misconception of this rifle is that bulk carry is chromed when in fact it's not. You know, to show you a good identifier that it's not chrome lined is I actually have little rust spots there, and it's more or less wipe off rust. I can probably get that off pretty easily with just some solvents and getting down it with a wire brush or something. But it is actually just steel in the nude there. There's no finish on that. It's a good candidate for polishing if you're into that kind of thing. It would really look really nice after that. Again, not chrome lined, so you're always going to probably have those types of little spots and stuff starting to form on there. Based on how well you clean it, how well you oil it, and how much corrosive or non-corrosive ammo you put through. It really doesn't make a difference. That stuff's just going to happen. So. Although it's a great candidate for bolt polishing, like I said, it's not going to retain that finish forever. So overall, really love this rifle. It's a little heavy for just a standard rifle to have at the range. I mean, this is again more of a collector for me personally. The raised cheek comb in the back here, unless you have the right cheek rest on there, can really pound your face pretty good. It's kind of hard on your cheekbone, but other than that, it's a great, fantastic rifle. I haven't had any malfunctions with it. One thing that I have read on these is that they did not finish underneath the side rail scope mount, so there is potentially some rust that could be forming under there on that bare receiver metal. And I haven't confirmed that. I haven't had any issues with mine. Mine stay in a fairly dry environment, so I really never have that many issues with rust altogether, except for what you can see on this bolt here. So overall, great rifle. This popular rifle comes from Romania and is made by the manufacturer Cugir. The model number can have a few different variations, but this particular one is marked GP WASR 1063, and like most WASRs, it's imported by Century Arms International. It's chambered in 7.62x39 and typically has an MSRP of about $550. The barrel is chrome lined and has a length of 16.39 inches with a twist rate of 1 in 9. The barrel is threaded, and like most WASRs, it comes with a removable muzzle thread protector or slant brake on it out of the box. The capacity is a standard 30+1 with removable magazines like most AKMs. It has an overall length of 34.25 inches with a total weight of 7.5 pounds, so fairly light. Until most recently, most WASRs, including this one, came with laminate stock and handguards. The newest batches of WASRs that I've seen have slightly better stocks and guards on it, but I'm not familiar with what type of wood it is. The original stock did sport a cleaning kit trap door. The pistol grip material is typically a polymer or bakelite material. The receiver is stamped and is 1 millimeter thick, which does not have support dimples on it. At least this one doesn't. As you can see there, they're absent there, where it would normally be, just flat. Due to not having dimples, though, they did spot weld some magazine supports on the inside, and maybe I can even give this an example here to you guys of that. And what that does is it reduces the mag wobble, as that was one of the major complaints from the earlier builds. And you can kind of see that in there. They got a spot welded little rail that kind of sticks out right there, and that just kind of supports that magazine when it's all the way in there. All WASRs come with the side rail scope mount for optics. Most all also come with the bayonet lug under the front gas block, and I can show you that there. Hopefully you guys can make that out. Oop, there it is. unless they were previously neutered from import or state restrictions on some of those, they can might find some of these without them on there. The front sights are a standard AKM adjustable post and half globe. You can see there. And the rear sights are a standard AKM adjustable post. Let's see if I can get that on there for you. Right there. It's adjustable post in the front and adjustable rear, being the standard AKM adjustable leaf sight out to 1,000 meters on that one. So my upgrades include a bone steel arms, right hand folding stock, which I have here. I can show you again. I have the bone steel arms product, and again just pushing it down, moving it forward, pushing it over to the right hand side. This one I did get a right hand folder. I can still manipulate the fire control group if needed. I can get in here and manipulate that and the bolt and everything, so everything still works. It's just not as easy to get into, but it's a nice folding stock. Definitely locks into the fully open position very nicely. Doesn't wiggle around. Solid Galil style stock on here, kind of a triangle folder kind of look to it. So other than that, I have the ATI pistol grip, which is the same one I have on that VEPR rifle. Very nice. It has a polished Tapco G2 trigger, which I did myself. Tapco retaining plate to hold the fire control group pins. DTS Lynch cover, which includes a non-reciprocating left-hand side charging handle, which is a really cool feature. So replaces this entire dust cover here. In fact, I can pop this guy off and just give you a view of that. And as you can see, it has built into it a side charging handle on the left-hand side, which is very, very nice for efficient operations. Get this back in here, and I'll show you how that works. So you got the handle up here, flips up. You can flip it back down. Oop. And you can charge that bolt all the way back and load her up. So very cool product. I believe he still sells these in limited runs. You're just going to have to get out to his website and see what he has at this point in time. So the Krebs custom safety selectors on here. It has Meprolite AK Tritium night sights front and back, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that out for you guys. We'll see if we can get as close of a picture as possible on that, but maybe you can make out it has a tritium vial in there. You can see a little dot there. Very nice for nighttime applications, as well as the rear sights there. See if I can get this leveraged out there, but you can see the tritium there and the tritium there. Those don't flip up or down or anything. They're just standard AKM sights there that are adjustable for the elevation. The Midwest Industries Optics specific handguard rail system here, which is really nice. You can actually purchase that for the the optic of your choice, and as you can see, I have the Burris Fastfire 2 sitting on there, and that will work in conjunction with the iron sights. It has a lower third co-witness on there. It's not absolute, but it works really nicely. You can use those iron sights still on there. The Magpul angled foregrip is on here. Works really nicely. Gives you a nice hang on the rifle. Able to pull it into you. Get a nice low recoil on it when you're using it. And a Midwest Industries muzzle brake, which I kind of showed you guys earlier when I was talking about the threading on this barrel. But very nice flash hider. Doesn't do a whole lot besides flash hiding. The recoil on a 7.62x39 rifle isn't very bad anyway, so mitigating any kind of recoil isn't really absolutely necessary. So overall, it's a great rifle for any person, be it the first-time buyer, experienced shooter, or battlefield soldier. You see these pretty much all over the world. It is my go-to rifle for times of crisis, as they are robust, easy to maintain, and easy to fix. Ammo is plentiful as of now, and so are replacement parts for this particular rifle. So you really can't go wrong with a WASR. Overall, it's a really nice, solid rifle. Here we have a designated marksman's rifle from the manufacturer Cugir in Romania. It has many designations depending on the importer. This particular one was imported by Tennessee Guns International, also known as TGI, and is designated the FPK Dragunov. This rifle is chambered in 7.62x54R and currently runs about $1,000 or more on the used market. It has a barrel length of 24.4 inches with 4 grooves and a twist rate of 1 and 12.5 inches. The barrel is threaded, but unfortunately it's under a pinned and welded muzzle brake, so you kind of have to do some work to get that off and replace it. The threaded barrel has a standard 14x1 left-hand pitch, which is really nice. The barrel is chrome lined. Due to its cartridge size, it only has a capacity of 10+1, and that is from a removable box magazine, as you can see here. They are proprietary PSL magazines, so you do have to find these. They run about $35 to $50 depending on where you are. It is a sizable rifle, and of course this magazine is always a little bit more difficult to get in because it's an unusual size and shape. It's a sizable rifle with an overall length of 48 inches and a total weight of 9 pounds. The aftermarket Rhinelander Arms Tiger Maple stock replaces the original laminate stock and handguards that came with this rifle. The receiver is a beefy stamped 1.5 millimeters thick. Get you a close up there. With an RPK bulged front trunnion and additional metal reinforcements in the rear of the receiver. So again, we're going to take a look at that bulge right there. You can see that on that side. And you can see it again on that side. That's kind of typical of that designation. And it does have the, again, because of the pressure, it has additional reinforcements in the back here, and you can see this plate running along the back, kind of making sure that when that bulk carrier comes and slams against it, it's not busting things apart there. The receiver does have supporting dimples. As you can see, they're much larger than the standard AKM, just because of the size of the magazine. And a side rail scope mount for long range optics, which is really nice. You can see I have the POSP scope on there, which is common with these particular rifles. But unfortunately the bayonet lug was ground off due to the import restrictions. It does still have the place, I think, where it kind of usually is. They ground that right off there. The front sights are standard AKM adjustable post and half globe, with the rear sights being a standard, let's see if I can get a picture of that there for you. It's a standard AKM adjustable leaf sight out to 1200 meters. And you can see pretty much looks the same, it just goes a little bit further out. These rifles are super fun, but only suitable for really collecting. There's better usable options on the market, such as the VEPR. The fit and finish on the TGI rifles are much better than the counterpart rifles imported by Century Arms International, and we're going to touch on that one next. And typically the TGI builds are a little bit more desirable in general. So if you're on the market for one of these types of rifles, look for the TGI ones if possible, and if you end up having to pay a little bit more of a premium for it, so be it. But as an example of what the previous rifle looks like in its original configuration, here's a Romanian Cugir PSL 54C imported by Century Arms International. Again chambered in 7.62 by 54R with an MSRP of about $1,000. This barrel also has a length of 24.4 inches with 4 grooves and a 1 and 12.5 inch twist rate. As before, the barrel is threaded under the pin welded muzzle brake with a thread pitch of 14/1 left hand. The barrel is chrome lined with a total capacity of 10+1, same as before. Hopefully some additional aftermarket mags will eventually be developed to expand that, but at this time that's currently all we currently have. So it's a bit shorter than the last rifle due to its original stock, measuring at an overall length of 45.3 inches and a total weight of 9 pounds. Both the stock and the handguard material is laminate, and I'll try to get you a little bit of a close-up on that because it's a nice stock set. It's not, hugely popular as needing something for aftermarket, but the stock is a little bit short for some people. They do have quite a few replacements available that are really good-looking ones. They match the SVDs. But overall, these are pretty decent, especially being Romanian. As with the TGI FPK, the receiver is stamped with a thickness of 1.5 millimeters, also showing the RPK style bulged front trunnion and having the additional supports in the rear again, as you can see there, that metal plate. The receiver does, or I should say, the receiver does have that side rail scope mount, which you can see again. I have that, and it's an LPS scope. I apologize, not POSP. It's an LPS scope there that I have on there. It's pretty standard with these. The front sights are a standard AKM adjustable post and half globe, with the rear sights being an adjustable leaf sight out to 1200 meters. Again, same as before. Again, a fun rifle, but only really suitable for collecting. The VEPR provides a better platform for the money, so if you're looking for something like that, that would be my recommendation for you. This is a really neat, rare training rifle from Romania, produced by Cugir again. It is designated a WASR 10 Cutaway, and is considered a firearm as it does have a serial number. It was imported in small numbers by Century Arms International, and technically is not chambered at any caliber as it's technically non-functioning. When available, the MSRP was about $500 on these in fair condition. It matches its real counterpart WASR with a 16.5 inch chrome line barrel, having a 1.9 inch twist. Because it's a cutaway trainer, it is a low cap model. As you can see there, it has that shorter magazine, only holds 10 rounds technically, and there was, during the import ban, I believe some WASRs that came in that configuration, and they may even still come in that configuration for some of the restricted states. I'm not 100% sure on that, but the low cap models are not unfamiliar with the US market on that, in that regard. The total length on this is 35 inches, and it has a total weight of 7.5 pounds. As you notice, the magazine is also a cutaway there. It came with the rifle here, which is kind of a cool add-on there. The stock does include the trapdoor with a cleaning kit in there for display purposes. As you can see, the cutaway is there as well, and the cleaning kit is actually even a cutaway, and that, again, that came with it, so that's kind of a neat little add-on display there. The handguard and the stock is both laminate. It came in a raw wood state, so I had to finish that up, make it look a little nicer when I got it, but it turned out pretty nice. The guards and everything are in pretty decent shape. They again have the cutouts on there, and as well as the stock. The stock did have the comb that was, I think it's the bottom cheek or comb, whatever here, was broken, so that wasn't horrible to replace or fix that up, but you can definitely still see that crack line there. The pistol grip is the standard Romanian Bakelite. As you can see there, it's not any kind of cutaway on that, unfortunately. And the model is built around the standard AKM 1mm thick stamped receiver. So not unfamiliar from its real counterpart. It does have a side rail scope mount. Again, you could add an optic on there for some display purposes, which would be kind of neat. I've never personally mounted anything onto it, though. The cleaning rod was included, and the rifle is able to retain it, which is really nice. It gives that general aesthetics back to the rifle. The front sights are standard AKM adjustable post and half globe, with the rear sights being a standard AKM adjustable leaf. There you go. See if we can get that to focus in. It's a leaf sight adjustable to 1,000 meters, which, again, really not going to need since I can't fire, but for looks purposes, it's authentic. A couple things that I've done to this rifle is including that staining and sealing that stock and handguard set, which I mentioned before. But I also polished the entire fire control group in there, and you might even be able to make that out. You'll notice that the hammer and the sear and the disconnect, all that stuff is polished to almost a mirror-like finish, not quite yet. But it gives it a little bit more of a visibility factor, I think, in my opinion. That's why I did it. I also did a cut in this safety selector there, so when it is in the fire position, you'd still be able to see that cutaway in the receiver itself. So as you can see there, it doesn't cover that up, and that was fairly easy to do. I just used a Dremel tool, but I added some fake ammunition in there that I purchased on eBay, I think. I don't know if this thing's so tight in here all the time, but they just emptied them out, and I think it doesn't have any primer or something like that. But authentic rounds, they just don't have anything in them. Can't actually chamber this. What actually happens is they blocked everything off, so the barrel's got a pin, I think, that they put through it, and then they welded that in place. The firing pin in here has been modified so it's not able to even fire, and then it also, as you try to load something in here, the magazine, first of all, doesn't load, so it's not a usable magazine, but there's also something in here that stops it from being chambered. So I mean, there's just multiple ways that this gun will never fire. You'll never get a round in there to fire. If you did, you'd certainly have a big mess on your hands. I'm sure the thing would probably blow up in your hands. So very cool rifle, display purpose rifle. It's, again, more of a collector. If you're not a collector, you'd never really want something like this, but there's really not a whole lot of them on the market. I haven't really seen these in a whole lot of places, and I was lucky enough to find one, so really lucky to have it in the collection. This typically hangs in my office on the wall. So that's the WASR 10 Cutaway training model. Next, we have another pretty rare rifle. This one's from China. It's made at Norinco at a factory 386, and the designation is MAC 90. It's imported by IDE in McLean, Virginia, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly, IDE. It's chambered in 7.62 by 39 and has a value of about $1,000. It has chrome lined 16.5-inch barrel with a 1 1/9-inch twist. Due to its sporter configuration, it does not have a bayonet lug or threaded barrel for a muzzle brake. As you can see there, it's neutered, as they say, or banned. So that's unfortunate. It has a capacity of 30+1 still. Fortunately, it doesn't have any kind of magazine restrictions, and has an overall length of 35.5 inches with a total weight of 9 pounds. The additional weight comes from it having a milled receiver, which is even more rare on this MAC 90 variant. And you can always tell that by that lightning cut there on the receiver. It's much larger than what you'll see as far as like a receiver dimple for a standard stamped one, but that's your giveaway that you have a milled receiver. And again, all that really does is lighten up the load on this milled out receiver, because it's just one big chunk of metal really. So they try to decrease that weight a little bit on it. The stock and hand guards are made of chew wood, and the thumb hole stock doubles as the pistol grip due to its sporter configuration again. The front sights are a standard AKM adjustable post and a half globe, with the rear being a standard adjustable AKM leaf sight out to 800 meters. Hopefully that's focused in on there for you. Yeah, it's an awesome collector rifle, especially since it's the milled variant. I used to have the stamped and I always regretted selling it, unfortunately. It was one of the most accurate and comfortable rifles that I ever owned. This particular rifle shoots very well. I'd still prefer that stamped one. It just maybe the weight of it just doesn't really sit well with me. But the stamped version was always awesome. This rifle certainly almost gets to that point. The Chinese-made firearms are truly one of the better on the market if you can find them. It's unfortunate that they don't come into the country anymore, so if you do find them, buy it. The Chinese stuff has been going up like crazy in price, and these are valuable investments, that's for sure. If you can find something a little bit more rare like the milled variant here, or something that, maybe by Polytech or something, those are definitely worth the money as well. Now we're getting to some of the top-end AKs on the market coming out of Bulgaria. The first rifle in this set is the SLR 106FR, manufactured and imported by Arsenal Firearms. This one is chambered in 223, 5.56 Nato, and has an MSRP of about $1,000. The chrome line hammer forged barrel is 16.25 inches long with 6 grooves and a 1 7-inch twist. The barrel is threaded with a 24 by 1.5 millimeter right-hand thread pitch, and it has a standard one-piece Bulgarian brake on it out of the box, which is nice. It has a 30+1 capacity and comes with a couple waffle pattern Circle 10 Bulgarian mags in this caliber, which is really nice. These magazines aren't difficult to come by, but they're a little bit more hard to find, and especially the Bulgarians being a little bit more expensive, having any additional mags in the box is nice to have. The overall length is 37 inches with a total weight of 7.3 pounds, so a little bit on the lighter side. The stock and handguards are made of a polymer, and the stock has a cleaning kit trapdoor. So the weight, probably the reduction of weight, comes from a lot of this polymer, which is part of the AKM platform there. In the back on the stock here, again, you have that cleaning kit trapdoor built in there, and that's pretty standard with the Arsenal products. I'm not going to pop the cleaning kit out, it does come with it. You also notice a button for the folding mechanism on this stock. The FR in the 106FR stands for foldable, and you'll notice that on this side of the firearm, by the side rail scope mount in the back of the receiver here, is a button to depress to allow this folder mechanism to work. So we'll push that in, and you'll notice it's going to fold over, and you'll notice that there's also a cut here in the stock which will meet up and mate with this side rail scope mount. So when I do fully lock it, and again there's also the locking mechanism up here which catches the stock, but when I fold it in and snap it in place, it's fully seated against the receiver, so you have no space there, and it's a real nice lockup. And then in the back of the stock, again, to release that stock, we have that button that will allow you to pull it out. So I really like these foldable stocks in the Arsenal line. They're built into the back of the receiver. There's no adapter. There's no extra length added to the length of pull for it due to the adapter, and it's all nice, lightweight, and built in. So looks good as well. One cool feature of the Arsenal line of rifles is the aluminum heat guards in the upper and lower hand guards. And you're not going to be able to see these, but there is a aluminum heat guard shield that runs over the top of the gas tube and under the barrel as well, and that just mitigates that heat from getting out under the handguards and heating up those handguards where you're not able to hold on to them. So that's a nice feature that really only Arsenal comes out with, and it's one of the features that a lot of people really like. The rifle is built around a standard stamped 1mm thick receiver, again kind of reducing that weight. Get you a little bit of close up on that. It's a nice finish on these Arsenal rifles. And it has a standard support dimples here, if I can get that in the picture here, for the magazines. And that's just giving you mag support and receiver rigidity as well. It's a little bit more of a support reinforcement for the receiver as well. A big reason for Arsenal's popularity is due to the fact that rifles include many features which don't come standard on many others here in the US. For example, this one includes a side rail scope mount for mounting your optics of choice, so that's a really nice feature always to have on any AK rifle, being that there's limited options otherwise. It comes with 2 accessory lugs under the front sight block and the gas block, and you'll notice the one right there, if I can get a close-up picture on it there. So the one right there is going to be for your bayonet, And then the one back here is going to be an accessory lug for grenade attachment and things of that nature, which I don't really see a whole lot of people using, but a really nice feature to have on an AK because it just gives that authenticity back to it and gives you closer to that milligrade military style that they do make for the militaries around the world. It also retains the standard AKM cleaning rod, which you probably noticed here on the end of the rifle here. I always like to see that. It gives its general aesthetics back to the gun, and it's a nice function to have when you're out in the field if you do need to, take out a jam case or something like that. Those do come in handy, I should say. The front sights are a standard AKM adjustable post and half globe. And the rear sights are standard adjustable leaf sight out to 800 meters, which you'll find these are pretty standard on the Arsenal products. They all pretty much look the same, and they work well. Unfortunately, it is a discontinued model, which may be brought back again in the future. You never really know. Arsenal is a fantastic marketing strategist, and they seem to have limited runs here and there of products that they always say are going to be discontinued. So they drive the price that way and the supply and demand that way. So more power to them. They're, like I said, great marketing strategists, and they can do that. I really like it because it's nice to have an AK in the collection that can run a caliber that's widely available here in the United States, the 223-556, which, as many of you probably know, is the same caliber that most AR-15s will run. So it's stateside here. It's very easy to get ammo for this gun, and I'm an AK platform of choice kind of guy, so I'd rather run the 223-556 through this than an AR-15, which I do have. I have a Smith & Wesson M&P 15T, so if need be, I can certainly do that as well. But overall, awesome rifle. Our next rifle is also from Bulgaria, manufactured and imported by Arsenal. The model number is SLR-107FR, and it has an MSRP of about $1,000. It also has a chrome line hammer forged 16.25 inch barrel with a 1 in 9.44 inch twist rate. The barrel is threaded, again with a 24 by 1.5 millimeter right hand thread pitch, and has a one-piece Bulgarian standard brake on it. It has a normal AKM capacity of 30+1 with removable box magazines. Again, coming with a couple Circle 10 waffle mags in the box, which is really nice. This is a cheap one I found at a gun store for about $15, and it's just one of the clear Bulgarians, and they're pretty much on par with like a Tapco or something like that. It was one of the cheaper brands as far as I read or understand. So it doesn't have any type of reinforcements in it, and the feed lips are plastic and known to break. But it's still a Bulgarian mag and looks pretty cool being that it's clear against this black. It kind of gives it a neat look to it. So the overall length is 37 inches and has a total weight of 7.3 pounds. So again, a little bit on the lighter side, probably that polymer furniture. The stock and handguards, again, are made of polymer. The stock is foldable to the left-hand side, just like our SLR-106FR. Has that locking mechanism right here on the back of the receiver, and I'll have to get my leverage on there, but you can see it's going to fold up over to the left-hand side, fully lock in. It has that cutout in the stock to mate up with that side rail scope mount, so you don't have any play or any kind of space between the stock and the receiver when it's in its folded position. And then to remove it, not only do you have your cleaning kit trap door here, but you have this button which will allow it to release and then lock back into the open position. Again, really love these Arsenal foldable stocks. These things are really great. They add no length of pull, very lightweight, and they look good being that they're built into the back of the receiver. The handguards do include the aluminum heat shields, which are standard with the Arsenal products. So you can be able to see those, but I kind of explained that with the Arsenal SLR-106. Just mitigating that heat that's coming off that gas tube and the barrel, so your hands don't get all hot. The receiver is stamped with a 1 millimeter thickness. Just wanting to reduce that lightweight, or reducing the weight on it, making it lightweight. And the stamped 1 millimeter thick receivers never had any problems, so they're definitely up to the task of using the pressures of 7.62x39. Out of the box, the rifle does include the side rail scope mount, wrong side here, for your optics of choice. It has the bayonet lug and accessory lug, just like the Arsenal SLR-106FR. Bayonet lug in the front here, right there, and the accessory lug in the back here. The front sights are AKM adjustable, standard post and half globe. You can see there. And the rear sights again, being a standard AKM adjustable leaf sight out to 800 meters, just like the 106FR. I mean, you really could set these guys side to side. You really won't know much of a difference except for the fact that the magazine is shaped differently, obviously. And to the uneducated, the rifles will be one and the same. I mean, you really couldn't tell the difference standing on a wall next to each other. So the mag difference is really the only thing that's going to really catch your eye as far as being a difference between the two of them. This is definitely one of my favorite rifles. Has all the features that anyone would ever need right out of the box. If you certainly need an AKM that can do all the things that this thing can do, you're going to have to pay for it, and this is probably your best bet at the current time. Arsenal has been known for superior products and having high collector value and investment return on their products, and that's kind of why I purchased this one as well. As of recently, though, more quality issues have been been reported, and bad finishes, canted sights, gas blocks, and other minor cosmetic and operational flaws have been kind of coming out and being reported. So you do have to, guys, be a little bit more wary now of the Arsenal products coming out. I really kind of attribute that to the increase in demand on these products and the manufacturer's attempt to meet that demand. Not only are they, making a civilian line of these rifles, but they're also meeting government contracts for militaries around the world. So whenever they're going to degrade in quality, they're certainly not going to do it on the military contract side of it, just because that could really cost them lots and lots of money. They usually do it on the civilian side if they need to crank stuff out, and that's typically, I think, what's happening with some of the Arsenal products. So if you're going to purchase one, it's better to do it in person if you can, especially with an investment of $1,000 plus. You want to make sure that you're getting a solid rifle. Arsenal does have the 1-year warranty, but I've heard that dealing with them for the warranty is kind of difficult. I personally never had to deal with them yet, but that's something to keep in mind as well that you might want to read up on if you're having some issues. So again, if you can purchase it in person and kind of look it over, make sure that you're not getting some sort of lemon or there's something wrong with it or it's canted, you're generally in good shape. Arsenal typically makes a good product. You're going to find a lemon here and there with any company, and the reviews of people talking about their lemons are a little bit more readily available online, because if you have something wrong, that's where you go to say it. People don't go on there and say, hey, I have a great rifle. 9 times out of 10, they just keep that to themselves. So unfortunately, as of making this video this morning, in fact, I posted to my Facebook page for IntoWeapons, I received notice from Arsenal that this product may also be discontinued for 2016 and into 2017. So we might not even see these rifles back in the market till 2018 once the current stock dries up. And I know there's a couple retailers out there, not to name any specific ones, but they're down around $940 now. So might be a good rifle to grab up, again, if you can make sure that you're not getting a lemon from it. To wrap up my Arsenal line of rifles, this one also came from Bulgaria. This rifle is a pretty collectible variant with the model number SLR101S. It's chambered in 7.62 by 39, and if available on the used market, ranges in price from about $1,200 to $1,500. The barrel is chrome lined and hammer forged, with a length of 16.25 inches and a twist rate of 1 in 9.45 inches. Unlike the last two rifles, this rifle has a thread pitch of 14 by 1 left hand. So you're able to put on a little more standard AK brakes on there instead of just the 24 by 1.5 millimeter threads. Although this one includes that standard in-house brake there that KVAR makes, and it's a real nice brake as well. It has a standard capacity of 30+1 with removable box magazines, and again was concluded with 2 waffle pattern Circle 10 30 round mags. The overall length is 36.5 inches with a total weight of 8 pounds. The stock is made from a polymer. It includes the trap door in the back here, just like the others. And the front is also polymer and includes those aluminum heat shields in there on the on top the gas tube and underneath the barrel there to protect the heat coming off those items. The extra weight on this particular rifle comes from the milled receiver, which is what makes it the variant a little bit more collectible from Arsenal there. They do have the SAM 7SF, I believe, is out, which is also a milled receiver, and it's got some really nice features on it. Very nice rifle. This was just a limited run that they had done a few times, and again, knowing Arsenal, they might run it again, you never know, but as you can see, it has the lightning cuts there that we demonstrated earlier on the milled Mac 90, and that's the identifier that you have the milled receiver. And then I'll actually show you inside there some of the markings that there is. Arsenal Las Vegas, real clean, nice finish, and they got the model number all the way up through there. They only made, like I said, limited runs of this, which makes it a little bit more collectible in that regard, and they might end up running it again, you never know. Even though it has the milled receiver, It has the side rail scope mount, which is a little bit unusual for a milled receiver. A lot of times you'll find that they don't have the side rail scope mounts on milled receivers, so that's a really nice feature on this particular rifle. It also has that bayonet lug on the front sight block, which, as you can see there, is being utilized right now by the Bulgarian Circle 10 bayonet that is on there. And you can remove that by hitting that button and sliding it forward, and then putting it back on there. And it also has the front sight cleaning rod, so it captures that on the front sight block and gives that the AKM general aesthetics again that I really like on the rifles. You got those cleaning rods on there. The front sights are AKM adjustable post in half globe. The rear sights are a AKM leaf sight, adjustable out to 800 meters normally. This one has an upgraded LEW tactical Glock sight for AKs on there, and I'll touch bases on that shortly. So I purchased the Bulgarian Circle 10 bayonet that I mentioned there, which is really nice. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're really nice bayonets. They have a really good look, and they certainly look really nice on these Arsenal rifles. They match the finish really well. I installed that LEW tactical, I think it's Law Tactical rear AK sight system that uses any standard standard Glock sight, I should say, to replace your iron sights in the back there. So as you can see, it's the Law LEW tactical sight system itself is just this metal piece right here, and then you get a standard Glock sight. In this case, I have the, I don't know if I can get an angle on that. There we go. Fully adjustable peep sights back here that are standard with Glock, I think, on some models. Otherwise, they're upgradable Glock sights as well. And you can just slide those on. They drift on, drift off. And I like that one because it's white. You can see it very easily. And again, it's fully adjustable with that particular sight. So, real nice setup there. I really like that that Law Tactical design. Certainly gives it a little bit better of an efficiency over the standard iron sights on these rifles. So, and it's not a permanent modification, which is really nice as well, I should mention. Overall, a great rifle, fun to shoot, and the action is one of the smoothest out of the collection, and that's one of the things that they're really well known for on this particular rifle, is that the action just really slides on those rails, and just overall really smooth shooting gun. So I enjoy shooting it, fun rifle to shoot, a little bit more collectible, so that's always a plus. Otherwise, solid rifle. This next rifle is very cool, and it comes from Hungary. It's manufactured by Firearms Arms Factory, also known as FEG, and has a model number of SA2000M, essentially an AMD-65. It's imported by Tennessee Guns Incorporated, also known as TGI in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's chambered at 7.62 by 39, has a retail value of about $550 currently. The short barrel has a length of 12.5 inches with a 1 9-inch twist rate. The barrel is threaded, which is necessary to hold the pin-welded 2-piece 5-inch brake on there to meet the import requirement length restrictions that this has. This particular variant, since it has the original Hungarian barrel as well, is chrome-lined, which is nice. It does have a standard capacity of 30+1 rounds, so it'll accept all standard AK mags, but typically comes with these Tanker 20-rounder magazines due to its foregrip here making it difficult to load standard 30-round magazines, although it's not impossible. The overall length is 35 inches with a total weight of 6 pounds, very lightweight. The reduced weight comes from the wire right-hand folding stock, which you can see here. The pistol to, or I should say the button to release that is right there. And let's see if I get the angle on that. There we go. And it's not the best button in my opinion for placement, just due to the fact that when I shoot this thing, it really jabs into my hand right there, right where your grip comes onto it. So it's kind of uncomfortable. After 100 rounds or so, you really notice that button is right where that is. So in order to fold it, you essentially depress it and fold it to the right. It is very tight here. See if I can do this. These folders are, there we go. So yeah, kind of push that button. It does lock into that open position, and then it'll fold to the right. These are known to be a little bit tighter. With use, they do get a little bit loose. I haven't fired this one a whole lot. It actually has a problem with the fire control group retaining spring, so I do need to replace that before I do any more rounds through it. And then it looks like it does lock into that position. And to release it again, we would push that button, and it'd be able to fold it right back up like that. So it works really well. I want to get one of those cheek risers on here, though, because it's pretty darn uncomfortable, that's for sure. The pistol grip is made out of polymer, as you can see there. The rifle is easily generally identifiable from its front end configuration. I'll give you a good view of that there. pretty different from your standard AKM, which doesn't include an upper handguard, as you can see there. It does have a lower handguard, usually accompanied by a foregrip there. The receiver is another key piece on this particular variant, as they do come with both US-made and Hungarian-made receivers. This one is a stamped 1mm thick receiver made by FEG in Hungary, which makes it a little bit more desirable on the market. The receiver does have the standard AKM support dimples there, and on that side as well, there. It includes the cleaning rod, although you'll notice that it's a little bit short than your standard AKM. It also has front sights here, which are standard AKM adjustable post and half globe, with the rear sights being the standard AKM leaf sight adjustable out to 800 meters. You can see there. Eventually I'd like to add that cheek riser here, like I said, and maybe a one-piece brake. If this two-piece brake bugs me enough, that's really not authentic to it. Generally just a one-piece brake that they have on there, TGI. I can't remember if they either ran out of parts or what happened there, but they ended up having to use a couple two-piece brakes, and they just welded it together to make it a one-piece essentially. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. It's just, again, not really authentic to the real AMD-65 style. Another collectible firearm, due to its rarity again, there are some AMD-65 and AMD-63 rifles available through a couple of retailers currently, but they sport the US-made non-chrome lined 16.5-inch barrel and US-made receiver. They're still good rifles, but the collectability is not currently there with those particular rifles. Although that may change in the future, you never know. These rifles are super fun to shoot and have a large muzzle flash, as well as being very loud. It's accurate, but a bit uncomfortable without the cheek riser, I'll admit that. The folding stock release button is also, like I said, uncomfortable for my trigger hand due to its placement and everything. So that's pretty much it on this particular rifle, but definitely a fun rifle to have in the collection. With a couple minor modifications here, this would be a great rifle, just a everyday shoot. Great trunk gun, very compact, lightweight, and does the job. Now we get into some of the really fun variants as we look at the AK pistols. Our first one comes from Romania and the manufacturer Cugir. It's designated the Mini Draco and is imported by Century Arms International. The pistol is chambered at 7.62 by 39, has MSRP of about $500. The short chrome lined barrel is 7.5 inches long and has a twist rate of 1 in 9.5 inches. The barrel is threaded with a 14 by 1 left hand pitch, and the pistol does come with a birdcage style break out of the box. The AK pistol does have the standard capacity of 30 plus rounds and accepts all standard AK mags as well as drum magazines. The overall length is a short 18 inches with a total weight of 5.4 pounds. Both, I should say, the pistol grip here, as you can see, is like a standard Romanian Bakelite. Got a kind of a cool color though too on this particular one. Looks really nice, but that's pretty standard. And the handguards are a standard laminate, although a unique feature of this variant, as you can see, is a unique oversized one-piece lower handguard. So it's unique to this particular gun. The pistol is built around a standard stamped receiver with a 1mm thickness. Give you a good view of that there. And it does, as you can see there, include the support dimples on both sides. The front sights are integrated into the front gas block and are adjustable AKM post and full globe. The rear sights are the standard AKM adjustable leaf sight out to 500 meters. So they just got it shortened up for range a little bit. I don't do much to this pistol, I shouldn't say I didn't do much to this pistol except stand and seal the handguard and change the birdcage style muzzle brake to a tap-go slant brake, and I just really did that to maximize the muzzle flash out of it because, I mean, that's fun. So overall it's probably the most balanced AK pistol out of the 3 Draco AK family pistols. The handguard is just large enough to be comfortable. The pistol is light enough and short enough to be concealed if needed, and the sight radius is about as minimal as possible without being unusable for longer shots. It lacks a side rail scope mount, but that can be remedied by an AK Master mount or a dust cover rail mount system like the AKs by Parabellum Armament. As with all the Draco pistols, it makes an excellent candidate for a short-barreled rifle, that's for sure. Here we have the big brother to our last pistol, designated the Draco-c, essentially the full-size Draco pistol in the family. It too originated from the Cugir factory in Romania. The importer, like all these Romanian pistols, is Century Arms International. It's chambered in 7.62 by 39, has an MSRP of about $550. The chrome line barrel length of this one is, the Dash C model, is 11.5 inches, and it has a twist rate of 1 in 9.5 inches. The barrel is threaded with a 14 by 1 left-hand pitch, and it includes a muzzle thread protector out of that box. It has a standard capacity of 30 plus 1 rounds, using standard AK detachable magazines. The overall length is 21.5 inches with a total weight of 5.5 pounds. The pistol grip and the handguard, I should say the pistol grip was a standard bakelite and the handguard was a standard laminate. The receiver is stamped with a 1 millimeter thickness and includes the support dimples right there and right there. Like all Dracos, the front sights are integrated into the front gas block. I'll show you there. And are adjustable post and full globe, with the rear sights being the standard AKM adjustable leaf sight out to 500 meters, which, as you can see, was replaced here, and I'll touch bases on that shortly. It does come with a cleaning rod, although it doesn't retain it, as far as I remember. And give you a good picture there. I did a lot of upgrades on this pistol, obviously, which includes drilling a hole in the rear of the receiver for a quick detach sling mount for use with this single point bungee sling. I replaced the grip with an ATI Scorpion recoil pistol grip again. This one doesn't have all the finger grooves, but very similar. The safety selector has been upgraded to a Krebs Custom Enhanced Safety Selector with the finger grooves and the bolt hold open notch. We kind of discussed that earlier on one of the other previous ones. I replaced the original dust cover with a Parabellum Armament AK Adaptive rail system, also known as the ACARS. I don't know if you're going to be able to make that out underneath there. There you are. And it just replaces the whole dust system, dust cover, up into the rear sights. And it works in conjunction with that, kind of tilts up and allows you to get into the axis, and it still allows you to remain zero on it. And that allows you to obviously mount an optic of choice. In this case, I got an EOTech XPS2-0 on there. I did polish the fire control group contact points for a crisp 4-pound trigger pull on this one. The wood handguards were removed and replaced with an Israeli Fab Defense AKL-U upper and lower composite handguard rail system. Attached to the lower handguard is a Magpul angled foregrip model AFG1. The original spot welded muzzle thread protector was removed, and I replaced that with that Tapco slant brake, which we looked at earlier. And it brings it together as, you know, an excellent non-SBR tactical AK pistol. And you can certainly configure these in a number of different ways, really to exactly how you want it to. Lots of options available, lots of standard parts that fit with this particular pistol. And again, the full-size Draco pistol out of the family. The last of the Draco pistol includes this one, also from the Cugir factory in Romania, the Micro Draco. This is the smallest of the family, as you can see, and is probably the most fun, yet least practical. It's also chambered in 7.62 by 39, has an MSRP of $500. The chrome line barrel is a tiny 6 inches long and has a twist rate of 1 in 9.5 inches. The barrel is threaded with a 14 by 1 left-hand pitch. If you can see there right underneath that handguard. Out of the box, it did come with that birdcage style brake that Century's been using, same as the Mini Draco. It also accepts all standard AK magazines and has a capacity of 30 plus 1 out of the box with the included Romanian magazines. Again, expandable with longer box magazines as well as drum magazines. One thing I did notice is, at least for my method of removing a magazine, I kind of get my finger up in there. It does pinch when I try to remove a magazine out of this particular variant. So one thing I'm not real happy with on that. The overall length on this thing is a mere 15.5 inches and has a total weight of only 5 pounds. The pistol grip is a bakelite, just like the other standard Romanian stuff. The handguard is a laminate, just like the others. Again, a unique one-piece oversized lower handguard with no upper handguard. Very specific to this gun. Really not much else it would ever fit on. I don't think there's a whole lot else out there. I think Midwest Industries maybe makes a replacement aftermarket guard for a couple of the Dracos. I'm not sure what's available out there, but I think things have been starting to pop out on this thing. The receiver is stamped with a thickness of 1 millimeter thick, and includes the support dimples on both sides, right there and right there. The front sights, like the others, are integrated into the front gas block and are adjustable post and full globe. The rear sights are simple and unique to this pistol. As you can see, it's not your standard rear sights on the gas block back here, or the trunnion, I should say, front trunnion. It's a kind of a peep sight that's just really spot welded to this here. The sights are really kind of non-existent, more or less, but it's just a fixed dovetail peep sight, more or less. Adjusting sights on this pistol is difficult, and it really has no side rail scope mount or other optic choices, so it's pretty limited as far as what you can do with optics on this thing. So it is what it is at that point. In the end, it's a bit small to be practical, and the sight system is pretty ineffective, like we mentioned. Although it's fairly accurate, it's not capable of shots longer than 50 yards without further stabilization, maybe in a stabilizing brace, or if you turn it into an SBR. Very little customization options available, like I said, but some aftermarket parts are being produced now. Nice little collector piece for anyone who owns any of the other Draco pistols, and it's just, again, a blast to shoot. One really fun gun. Last but definitely not least is another Bulgarian firearm out of the Arsenal factory. This one is generally designated the SLR-106UR. Since it has options available such as a brake and side rail scope mount, it has other more specific model numbers like this one, the SLR-106-58. It is imported by Arsenal out of Las Vegas and is chambered in 223-556 Nato like the SLR-106FR, essentially the little brother to that guy. The MSRP was $1,000 when it was available. It has an 8.5-inch chrome line hammer forged barrel with a 1 7-inch twist rate. The barrel is threaded with a 24 by 1.5 millimeter right hand thread pitch. The muzzle brake is one of the coolest features. It's an in-house product by Arsenal, which was designed to mitigate recoil a bit. It does have a standard capacity of 30+1 rounds, and the magazines are interchangeable with the SLR-106FR rifle. The overall length is only 20 inches. And has a total weight of 5.5 pounds. The pistol grip and handguards are made of polymer, and like all other Arsenal products, the handguards do sport the aluminum heat shields in there, which is really nice, above the gas tube and underneath the barrel. It has a standard 1 millimeter thick stamped receiver with support dimples, as you can see there on that side and that side. It does have the optional side rail scope mount for optics of choice. This one came with it, as you can see there, which is really nice to have on a pistol. You can put a red dot on there or something. The front sights are integrated into the gas block. There you go. With a sling mount attachment built in, which is really unusual design. You don't really see a whole lot of that, so it has a sling point there. The front sights are adjustable post and half globe, standard. And the rear sights are a bit unusual, being mounted on the dust cover. As you can see, they're a little bit different than your standard AKM. Yeah, it's using kind of more of a crank-off style, which only has 2 adjustments for distance. So you got, see if I can get that angle there, you got the flip there. And I think one's a battle sight and one's a distance sight, I can't remember exactly. Not really familiar with that as much. Overall, it's one of the most fun pistols to shoot at the range, and it never fails to turn heads. The muzzle flash and the noise is extremely loud and intense. It's rivaled only by my VEPR 7.62x54R with that 16-inch barrel. The finish is delicate with all Arsenal products, but it looks really good. You know, as you could probably tell between the differences on some of the previous rifles and pistols. It's got a really nice black sheen to it, just a gorgeous looking rifle. Recoil is very manageable, and the overall weight and length make it a practical candidate for turning into a short barrel rifle in a 223-556 caliber. Unfortunately, I have discontinued this particular model again, but Arsenal is known for bringing back models for limited production runs, and it could be available again in the future. You never know. There are still remnants of this old stock still available from some retailers, and I think that's really only because of the retail price of this pistol, which, you know, kind of reduces the demand. There's not a whole lot of people wanting to drop $1,000+ on a 223-556 AK pistol, especially when it's, you know, not an SBR already or something to that effect. So, but overall, if you got the money and you want something really fun for the range that'll turn heads, this is the guy to go to. 100% without a doubt, that would be my recommendation. Absolutely love shooting this gun. It's a blast. Alright everyone, that's pretty much it. Overview collection of my 2015 AK pattern rifles. again, I'm sorry for this being a little bit late. Typically, I like to run this around September, October, November of the year, but just with the holidays and everything going on, I wasn't able to get it out. So this one does count as the 2015, even though it's a little late. My collection actually has already changed for 2016, so I have a new addition to the collection that you guys can look forward to, some unboxing videos, some range videos, and then ultimately, you know, hopefully towards the end of this year without a delay, I can get the 2016 collection video done without stretching into the next year. So if you have any questions, guys, as always, feel free to let me know. I appreciate you watching. Till next time, take her easy.